It's 6 o'clock, and we'd like to start our meeting, the March 14th meeting of the Quarry Commission. And we'll start out with a roll call. Mike? Mike Shands?
Mike Shands, present.
Okay, Wayne?
Wayne Budge.
John L. Hawley.
Dave Beersner, present.
Okay, Armando is not here at the current time. Jerry Barucki is presiding as the chair. All right, and if we will start with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, guys. All right, and we'll start out with a call for citizen commentary. Has anyone signed up for that? All right, and I don't see any. We've got about as small an audience as I've seen in my 5 years or 6 years here. All right. And it could be the time change, right? All right. Let's start out then with the business items and approval of the minutes. Any additions or corrections to the minutes from last time? No comments on that?
I think she did a good job as always.
Okay,
I
anybody wanna-
move that we accept the minutes as written.
All right, second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, the minutes are accepted as given. All right, let's see reports for the last 2 months.
Good evening. Nick Reitinger with Vibratech here to report the seismic data collected at Garden Ridge for the months of January and February. Our readings for the month of January, there were 8 total shots. Our highest peak particle velocity was a 0.218 inches per second, recorded at the Warden property line, and that was on the 14th of January, coming from the Aggie pit. Also on the 14th, we had our highest air overpressure reading, which was 118 decibels recorded at the Warden property line. For the month of February, we had a total of 8 shots. The highest peak particle velocity was a 0.130, and that was recorded at the Warden property line on the 11th of February. And also on the 11th of February, we had our highest air overpressure reading at 2 locations. It was a 117 at both the city property line and the Warden property line.
Okay. All right.
Moving to,
Nick,
yeah,
on your report
uh-huh.
For January,
Yes.
the days are January 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Those numbers are sort of like out of whack in our report.
I'm sorry?
The numbers are really off, like the peak particle velocity is 195.33.
Ooh, nope, not on my sheet. Oh, it is. It is. Wow, you got us on that.
largest PPV to date.
195.33.
So
My apologies on that.
I just wanted to bring it to your attention. The other reports,
Yep.
it's fine, but it's in a different format a little bit.
No,
It's reversed or not.
Is that just a decimal point, or is that just some really different figures?
It's just a mix-up in the report.
yeah, I'll look into that. Those certainly are not correct. Not correct at all.
And your air overpressure during those,
Well, it looks like everything's shifted. I can't say what the 195.33 is, but if you look to the left, the frequency, 0.028, that's the peak particle velocity. If you look left to that, the air overpressure, it says 4.5, that's the frequency, right?
Maybe it was just those 4 columns that were,
Well, and it's that air overpressure is the value that's missing on all of that, because that 1.9533 is not the air overpressure. pressure.
Well, the other one right below it, the 294, should have also done a pretty good job of knocking us out.
Right,
No.
right. 294
And
would,
one below
that would have had a few,
146.
that would have had a few alarm bells
Like
going.
I said, the road really does change drastically.
Yes, that date in particular.
What's that?
It's that date range.
It's just this, it's just the 7.
1/7.
Okay.
Yes, everything else seems to be within.
Okay, that's fine.
Reasonable, yep.
Okay, okay. Thank you for pointing that out. I missed that one.
No problem.
Okay, all right, here we go. Slide 1, as we've always seen. Here's all of our shots for both January and February, and all of our seismic locations. Here is our overall USBM plot. The Warden property line being the highest of the 2 months. Aerobic pressure, all plotting very low, well below the 133, still below 120. And our one concern here for the month was Mrs. McAllister Bacon at, on the 14th of January. She was concerned about an Aggie pit shot. That was our high reading for the month. Okay. She writes, this did shake the entire first and second floors as well as the light fixtures and mirrors on the wall. It's getting stronger and stronger. She did not request contact. She rates it a 4 out of 5.
So, can you go back to
Yep.
that?
Go back.
All right, so, that January impact report was the only one over 2 months, is that it?
That's all I have, yes.
0 in February and 1, and at a 4, okay.
Yep. So breaking down the shot, of course, we have where the shot's located and the homeowner's house. I pulled the seismic data there for the Michaels seismograph. That is our closest seismograph to the shot. Let's test everybody's eyes. I'll look here.
And you said that was the Aggie pit, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And the Michaels there for that day, that's a 0.13 inch per second shot with a frequency of 22.7, and air over is a 109.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Any other questions you have about the last data for the 2 months? Any keen insights from our group? All right. Okay, and the monitor then, they were at, the 5 locations were,
David had one in February.
Yeah, I got it, I guess the middle of January when Dave showed up.
Yes.
okay, that's when we took from Schultz?
Yep.
Okay,
And I didn't even feel anything the last 2 months. I think when we were out there setting it up, I felt one charge, they set it off about 1, and it was kind of, I don't know if it's up and running or not, you know what I mean? I forget what day it was, but
We have a shot for you. Let's see. Schultz. First recorded Beersner shot was on the 27th of January, and that was a no trigger. So we haven't seen a trigger.
No, I
at
hadn't
that
had any
size.
triggers on it.
Was that?
Hadn't had any triggers on it. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of them have been up in the Aggie pit. That's
Yeah,
a ways from me, right?
yeah.
Usually I feel 1 or 2 of them a month. I can feel that rumble, that delay rumble on those things,
Right. Yeah,
which is good. That's great for me.
a couple of months of no triggers is really good data to report on, for sure.
all right, now, just among ourselves, is there any indication that anybody ever requested a monitor in the last 2 months, a change or request, anybody that anyone knows of? You haven't received any in the city?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right, so should we just agree that we'll keep things the way they are for the next, till the next meeting? Dave, you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm
still?
fine, I can stay out there, I'm fine with it.
Good, all right. Takes care of that.
I don't know if the next item is the magical education glossary of terms.
Correct.
At long last, you know how long it took to get these 3 pages approved? Took some time. I can simply go over it. It is, the documents in front of you. It has been under a lot of scrutiny through Hanson. Such a small thing did raise a little alarm bells, but everything that's here on here is approved by Hanson. I've given the actual file to Kat before the meeting began. She's got that information, so if you want it in email form, she has it. But you have it out printed in there. It is simply just a document, and we had these grand ideas that this would be a booklet. Hanson kind of 86 that, and this is what we have here approved.
Is this something we had discussed putting on the website?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
yep. Those
Okay.
files are sent to the city.
So, year end, it's been approved by Hanson, and anyone else had to approve it, your company or the blasting company?
Yeah, we put it together for Hanson to approve. So if
Okay.
it's got Hanson's approval, it's got ours.
All right.
Yeah, so that's ready to put wherever you want it.
Okay, and what I propose is that we all look at this over the next couple months and till our next meeting and see if it meets our demands, you know, in our educational ideas. So I think after it took so long to get approved, I'm hoping we don't have any major changes to look at, but we ought to still look at it, maybe comment it on our next meeting. Is that all right with you guys?
sounds good.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you for this, and
Yes.
thank you for shepherding this through the bureaucratic system.
Thanks for your patience as well.
Hey, can I ask you another question, Nick?
Sure.
I was curious about your monitors. Does it have a self-testing
It does.
procedure in the
Yep.
boxes to make sure they're working correctly? or-
Yep. Each seismograph at this site, we can change them to do whatever, but each seismograph at this site turns off at 10 PM and turns on at 5 AM. So when it turns itself off, it does a diagnostic, and we get that report. And when it turns itself on, it gives a diagnostic, and we get that report.
Okay.
And I have a member of my staff whose unfortunate job is to comb over 214 seismographs from here to the island of Maui to prioritize and make sure every unit is set. I get a list sent to my desk. If there is a fail calibration, or not even a calibration, but a service requirement, maybe the battery level's dropped over the evening, or it's just not connecting to the cell tower, I know all that information by 8:30 in the morning. We contact the quarry to say, hey, this unit is down, and we service it before the shot.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any items, Nancy, that you can recall from our city council meeting that we need to deal with? I thought everything was very straightforward in my presentation, and their just acceptance of that.
Correct. I don't, there's really nothing to comment on.
Okay.
Like you said, your presentations have been very straightforward.
Okay, all right, dispense that item. Then we move finally to education and training, and as I mentioned, we will review the Quarry terminology over before our next meeting. It looks, again, pretty straightforward, and I would hope that we wouldn't find anything that then we would have to go back to them to review and go all through that process again. But I think it'll be very helpful on the website to reference it to future people who have questions. All right, any other ideas for education or training? Janelle?
I'd like to ask Nick, when he has an opportunity to review this list again and sort of try and figure out what some of the definitions actually mean. So as we come up with our questions, it's going to be, I think there could be a lot of questions. Unfortunately, there's things out. I just see things. Yes.
Can you please turn on your microphone? Thank you.
Is that better? Okay. So basically, I looked at a few of the words that were there, and they were, the word, I understood it, and generally it would make plenty of good sense. And then I read the definition, and it sort of like said, what am I what's being talked about? And it was confusing to me, just since you've given it to me. So just ask that you go through it and make sure you're okay with it too. Okay?
Just in case you have a question next meeting as to what that actually is, and I can break it down, maybe even though they concern.
Exactly.
That would be great. Yeah, and one of the difficulties of putting together something like this amongst the personnel who are totally familiar with all of these terms is how easily your knowledge transfers over just in a single sentence and a half, you know, to others who are not as familiar as you. All right. Thank you, Janelle. All right. If there are any ideas for future education or training, I'd like to bring up a item that Janelle just discussed at the very end of our last meeting, and that was you inquired about if there's any longitudinal data or look at the summary of the blast data over instead of just 1 or 2 months at a time over an extended period of several years to see if there were any patterns of increase, decrease, blast complaints, blast power, PPV levels, and so forth. And what I have thought I would do is propose that I will put together a longitudinal matrix, a spreadsheet of blasts for the last 4 years to see what the data sets look like over a long period of time, any major changes, any major dips or patterns that we might be able to look at. And when we report then to the city council, we would have an idea of where any specific month sits in this whole spectrum. Is that really way different out of line, or is it in the same pattern of ebb and flow, ups and downs sometimes? So I will have the city, I'll put together a sample of that data set and send it, and have the city send that out to you folks to look at for next time, and we can talk about that then. All right.
I might, just in case you get really bored and are looking for something to do, you could go back even further than 4 years.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes, I agree. And I assume, Kat, that the city has that data somewhere in old reports, monthly reports, right?
Yes. So after this meeting, if you would like to discuss with me a firm date range that you would like, I can prepare a USB drive that you would need to come pick up because the file will be much too large to email you.
Okay, that sounds good.
I thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right.
And we may want to look at our impact on that data and what we may want to do. You know, it was a couple of years ago, we went from a once a month meeting to every 2 months.
Right.
And we may want to consider our value in relationship to that data and what it means to the citizens as to if we want to make any changes or keep the status quo.
Okay. So to see if there's any differences in those blast data
That suggests we
since
should do
we
something
went
different.
from every month to every other month. Okay.
Yeah, see what,
Yeah.
should we change things or not? Or
Right.
what we doing just fine, or do we want to do something else?
Okay.
Maybe meet once a quarter.
I was
Don't know.
trying to figure that out myself by going back through some
Yeah.
old, and I couldn't put it together when we made the change. Do you remember, Nancy or Kat? When we made the change to bi-monthly? Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I know you guys have been my bi-monthly the 4 years that I've worked here.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's
Yeah,
been
it
a
was-
long time.
Yeah, it was long before COVID.
okay. And that, well, it won't show on your data set, it'll just show the months.
It was when I was president, so you can look back at that, because I remember the presentation to council.
Okay, good. All right,
So it's your fault.
that's a good point there, Wayne. Any other ideas or comments on, all right? So that's it for the education and training. Any future agenda items besides one I just mentioned? This? All right. Well, are we getting paid by the hour, Nancy? All right. If there are no other issues that we need to bring up or discuss, then is there a motion for adjourning the meeting?
One
Yeah,
quick-
Kat, hang on.
We'll need to do a second citizen comment period first.
Okay, thank you very much. I haven't seen anyone sneak in since we commented last time. Any citizen commentary? I did not think so. None, thank you. Okay. Okay, and our next meeting will be, Kat, on
9th of May.
May 9th?
Yes, it'll be May 9th, the day before my birthday. How exciting. I would like cupcakes, gentlemen, please.
Yeah.
Chocolate cupcakes.
Yeah, finagling for a party, I guess, yeah. All right, May 9th, and with that in mind now, Wayne, you're going to make a move to adjourn the meeting?
Yes, so moved.
All right, second?
Second?
All right, at 6:22, the meeting is adjourned. Oh, yeah, good idea. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I'll say again, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, folks.
There's an echo in here.
23.